I got a call from Keith Naftali, who was my phone jockey at KFRC. He's now,
Everything is so intertwined.
yeah, he's now the program director at KMEL. Went on to become Clive Davis's assistant at Arista Records, and from there on, he rewrote record industry history with Mariah Carey and
Yeah, yeah,
several
yeah.
other artists, Whitney Houston, and just many more.
Mhm.
So anyway, he called me and said, "Yeah, we got an opening for mornings." And I said, "Well, is it a lot of money? I'm getting actually divorced from my first wife, and my wife and I, she might like California, but I know she's working on the air here in New York on Fox 5 doing traffic in the morning and all. I mean, she's got a pretty high profile job. She's on TV." And anyway, I just went out to see. Um, it was John London who was exiting mornings at KMEL. And he and Engelman, London and Engelman, and they went down to
Right.
LA to
Oh, yeah,
work
yeah, yeah.
at K West, I think, 106. So I replaced him, but they kept my co-host, their co-host, Renelle. She and I, right off the bat, didn't click. And, here I am, just left the best job I'd ever had in New York. And I got to learn how to do mornings instead of rhyming and rapping over 20-second intros. I got to learn to
Yeah.
listen to people and speak and
Different gig.
converse. Yeah, big, big different. But
Hmm.
I've always prided myself on being able to work with anyone. But I think she was upset initially that she wasn't made the anchor of the show. Um, but she is multi-talented, and I knew that from the beginning. So I had mutual friends intercede for me with her, and then we started doing remotes from bars in the morning. And so it would turn out that the more drinks we had while we were doing remotes in the morning show, the better friends we became.
Right.
And after about a year, we got along famously, and we had the biggest guests in the business and out of the business. I mean, everybody from Rosa Parks to Nadia Comaneci to James Brown to Tupac and Biggie, and I mean, everybody from
Wow.
every walk of life came in there, and we interviewed them.
Did you
I
do the
mean,
remotes? Did you do the remotes in a bar?
yes, they were. Well, a place like Chili's or a place like Red
Just
Robin,
so they
that
would
kind
come
of.
in, not in the station. A lot of them
No,
was
no,
out.
we would interview people mostly at the station, but
Oh,
we
okay.
we got to be friends, my co-partner and I, Renell
Yeah, yeah,
Moon,
yeah, yeah.
and we when we were doing these, and I mean, we'd have people dancing on the tables, and it was a free for all, and we loved it because it sounded great on the radio. Um, but I mean, that gig doing mornings at KMEL, the morning zoo crew, that's what it was. The new Jack Zoo is what we called it. When I
Hmm.
got there, we got rid of London and Engelman and the morning zoo crew. We became the new Jack Zoo. And because the radio station had gone 100% hip hop and R&B, which was even a far cry from me. I mean, I had known a lot of hip hop guys in New York, from Public Enemy, and I mean, from a lot of these groups. When I got to the West Coast, it was a different bunch of guys. I don't know if you remember this in the early 90s, but there was a big rift between East Coast, West Coast rappers.
Did not know that.
And
I
yeah,
remember the riffs. I just didn't know if it was about the coast part. Everybody
yo,
shooting each other
yeah,
and stuff. And
yo,
yeah,
man, East Coast, West Coast, and
right.
those gang signs meant something, and so you'd have all the East Coast rappers like Public Enemy, and then you'd have the West Coast rappers like Snoop Dogg and Tupac and Digital Underground, and these guys they didn't accept me because I was from New York, and they were cool. It was a cool reception to
Right.
have me as the white guy as the leader of the morning show. And in all honesty, 30 years ago, it was a great education because I thought I was not white privileged whatsoever. I had no concept of that. And I thought I was as racially emancipated from racism as anybody could be because I was in groups with a lot of African Americans, and they taught me this and I taught them that, and we're like
Yeah.
brothers. And I remember how it was in this country in the early 70s. It was going along famously. Racism was kind of like, in the rearview mirror.
Yeah,
Um,
very much
but
so.
by this time in the 90s, it was bubbling up again and not getting good. And becoming the very first all hip hop station in America, KMEL was a radio station that we pioneered. And I learned so much because I basically was the white guy with a group of multicultural people on my staff in the morning
Right.
show, multicultural people, um, you know, uh, uh, I mean, Asians, Samoans, Hispanics, obviously, African Americans, obviously, but we were the people station, and I was in the minority, and that was okay.